Okay, so once you know there's a need for real estate photography in your area, it's time to think about a camera. Some photographers swear by a particular brand of camera, but from my experience, the brand does not make that much of a difference. With that being said, I use Canon. I started with a 5D Mark III and have upgraded to the Mark IV. The main reason I use Canon is because that's what I learned on and I never had the need to switch. I also have a bunch of Canon lenses, and switching to another brand would mean getting new lenses, which gets really expensive really quick. You certainly don't have to use a Canon. I know photographers who shoot on Sony, Nikon, and Fuji. The brand, in my opinion, does not matter as much as the specifications. There are 5 things that I typically look for when buying a camera. Number 1 is sensor size. I would suggest getting a full frame sensor, especially for real estate photography. A full frame allows you to capture the entire field of view, whereas a crop sensor, or APS-C, crops the image so you lose some of your photo. You can use a crop sensor camera, but you'll need to use a wider angle lens. This will all make more sense when we talk about lenses in the next video. Just remember that the smaller the number in millimeters, the wider the field of view. I like to shoot real estate photos at 16 millimeters. So if I was shooting on a crop sensor with a crop factor of 1.4, I would multiply 16 by 1.4 and get about 22 millimeters, meaning you would be cropping in and losing a lot of your frame. Now, if I was shooting at 12 millimeters with a 1.4 crop factor, that would get me to about 16 millimeters. If you don't want to do math while taking photos, try to get a full frame sensor. But if you get a crop sensor, you just need to keep in mind that crop factor. Number 2 is megapixels. Generally, the higher the megapixels, the higher the quality of the image. I would suggest a camera that shoots over 20 megapixels. The 5D Mark III has 22.3 megapixels and the Mark IV shoots 30.4 megapixels. I shot with my Mark III for over 2 years and it worked awesome. Don't feel like you have to rush out and get the latest and greatest. Just make sure that the quality is good enough to pass for professional photos. Number 3 is, can the camera shoot raw photos? First of all, what does RAW mean? RAW is a file format that captures all image data recorded by the sensor when you take a photo. When shooting in a format like JPEG, image information is compressed and lost. Because no information is compressed with RAW, you're able to produce high quality images as well as correct problem images that would be unrecoverable if shot in the JPEG format. This is the biggest benefit to shooting RAW photos. I edit all my photos in Adobe Lightroom, and having RAW images gives me the flexibility to correct the white balance, boost shadows, reduce highlights, and adjust exposure. You can adjust all those things with a JPEG, but because the file is compressed, the amount you can edit is reduced significantly. So make sure the camera you purchase can shoot RAW. Number 4, can the camera shoot video? Yes, video can become a great tool for your business. We'll dedicate some time later on in the course on how to shoot and edit real estate videos. Make sure the camera can shoot at least 1080p video, also known as full HD. 4K video is great, but it's not necessary. I've gotten a lot of business because I offer video and my competitors don't. Even though these competitors have had relationships with these agents and they do good work, I've won some business because I offer more than just photos. Video tours and aerial videos are a great way to get in with agents. Number 5 is price. I realize buying a camera is stressful. I get nervous every time I'm about to pull the trigger on a big purchase like that. I look at it as an investment. The old saying, you have to spend money to make money, is actually true, but you don't have to spend a crazy amount of money. I would suggest spending between $800 and $2,500 for a good camera that will last you for years if you take good care of it. There are less expensive options. You can buy a refurbished camera or a used camera and save quite a bit of money, but those purchases are a little bit more risky. I've purchased refurbished equipment and have been happy with it, but just be careful. If you buy used, just make sure you can return it if it doesn't work. You can also rent a camera for pretty cheap. I use lensrentals.com to rent gear sometimes. They make it really easy to order what you want. They send it to you with all the return packaging and shipping information, and you send it back the day you're supposed to return it. I would not suggest this as a long-term strategy, but if you want to test out some different cameras and get some practice, renting is a good way to go. You could also borrow a camera from a friend or family member. DSLRs are becoming more and more popular, so you may know somebody who already owns one. Just don't break it. Here's another note on price. Please, please, please do not go into debt to buy a camera or any camera gear. Don't put it on a credit card and pay it off over the next year or 5 years. Save up to buy and own a good quality camera. You don't have to rush into anything. Be patient and be smart with your money. You don't want to start your business by going into debt. So there you have it, the things I look for when buying a camera. I've put some links in the notes to cameras that I think will help you out and get the job done. If you have any questions, please let me know, and remember, keep shooting. Swish.